What if every meal that you take isn't simply about the fuel, but it's a nourishment not just for your body, but for your mind, for your soul? Because food, it's part of the celebration of life. And how can we be more conscious about what we eat? Does being conscious about what you eat influence or affect how you feel? Well, yes, it does. It's being aware. When you're aware of your breath, you breathe a deeper, fuller cycle of your breath. When you eat with awareness, when you consciously eat. So it's not just about fuel for your body. You're integrating some external factor from the world into your very being. So what is conscious eating? Well, first of all, it's to simply be aware of the process of eating. How many times do you sit there, do you eat, or even when you're on the move, and it's just the process of putting the food in your mouth, chewing, swallowing, and then again, you don't even taste the food that you're eating because your mind is elsewhere. You're not conscious with that simple process of eating. So first and foremost, give yourself time to eat. And when you eat, dedicate that time to the enjoyment of eating. Try not to be distracted. There are many distractions in the world, easily held in your hand or watched on a screen. So give the time over to your food, to what it is that you're consciously eating. And then there comes the question about maybe the quality of the food that you are eating. I've done a video before talking about, is it really necessary to be a vegetarian if you're following a spiritual practice? Well, that's entirely up to you. Let me know in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. Do you need to be a vegetarian? Do you need to be a vegan to follow a spiritual practice, a spiritual path? For me, I am vegetarian, mostly vegan, but I have chickens and I eat their eggs. But when I eat their eggs, I know that the chickens have had a relatively happy life. I do my utmost to provide good welfare for those chickens. So I know that there hasn't been really any suffering involved for the eggs that I eat. When I eat vegetables, a lot of the time, if I can, and I know this may be a privilege to myself, but I've created a life for myself where I can grow vegetables. And so it's not just that end product. It's not just the carrot that I'm eating. I've invested time, patience, love in the growing of that carrot. I've prepared the earth, I've sown the seed, I've watched it, I've nurtured it, I've grown it, and then finally I eat it. And it would be an insult just to crunch my way mindlessly through that carrot. So consciously I eat, I taste the flavours, I chew, I breathe as I eat. And so to be aware of what you eat also, it makes it a ritual almost, a celebration. I know when people say that they prepare food, they cook food with love. Well, what if you don't need a garden. It's so magic just to have a plant pot and put some lettuce seeds in the springtime and then eat those lettuces. There's something simplistic, childlike, magical of seeing nature in action and then being able to make that little plant, that leaf, a part of your very being. I wouldn't say it nurtures your soul, but these things help to reveal your soul, your true nature. So when you can, if you get the opportunity to, try growing some food. Otherwise, when you're buying the food, and I know this day and age, there's a lot of, organic and it's very expensive. I know that. And so it can be a factor. Maybe if you just include just a limited amount of organic food, it means that you're giving back to the land in a way that it's not just about there's no chemicals on that particular vegetable. It means that land is supportive of vegetables in a natural environment. There's all the other creatures involved. So again, I'm not here to tell you what to eat, when to eat, whether to eat organic, whether to be vegetarian, but just to be simply conscious, to be aware. Another problem, and it is a problem, I suppose, I hear about people when they eat clean, and they eat not clean or unhealthy. Well, to be consciously eating, to be aware of the food that you put in you, can sometimes make you overthink. It's like a meditation. If you overthink the practice, well then the essence of that practice isn't revealed. So take for instance what you'd consider to be not so clean food. I had some biscuits before, and do you know what? They were delicious. And I know that sugar, there's all these things in the biscuits, but for a little treat every once in a while, it is a delight. Chocolate might be your thing. I'm not particularly keen on chocolate. It might be chocolate, it could be biscuits. But there's no use in beating yourself up. If you get that real urge, and again, if you're conscious about the food that you eat, well then the treats and the more, if you like, and I really don't like the phrase clean, or the less clean, or the more unhealthy, well then you're less likely to overindulge in those things. And it's part of this wonderment that is life, to delight in food, in the good food, the wholesome food, but also in those little pleasures, the biscuits, the chocolate even. And it's all part of being conscious, because if you're conscious when you eat, say you eat the biscuit or you eat some chocolate, there shouldn't be any guilt. There shouldn't be any beating up, you're just enjoying life. If it becomes more of a regular pattern, well then if you're conscious of it, you'll think, well, maybe not today. So be aware of what you eat, be conscious of what you eat, where the food comes from, what was involved maybe in cooking that food and growing the food. But ultimately, food is a part of life, a part of nature, as are we. We're a part of nature, and it's just this process of nourishing, nurturing. We're conscious beings. When you eat, be conscious of the fact, and maybe in that ritual of eating, in the delight of eating, well then you experience that inner joy, that calm that lies within us all. So leave any messages, let me know, what are your preferences? Do you agree with what I say? And help me with the algorithm. Press the like button, subscribe if you're not already. And I thank you.